Good morning. It is Saturday, 22nd of November. Question today is, how did we get fat? You thought about that? When did you start to notice that the pounds were adding up and things started to go south? Just a thought for today. That's what we're going to talk about. Now, to recap, I'm Brian. This is my Silver Health Quest. I'm 59 and a half years old. I'm on getting into the best health of my life and hopefully getting to Wonderland by my 60th birthday in April. Thanks for joining. If you want to subscribe, like this, share it with anybody. If you're on the same quest, if you're in your mid 50s, early 60s and trying to figure out what's going on, hopefully this is a place that you'll get answers. So, when did you start to notice things coming off the rails? For me, it was in my early 20s when I started to drink and smoke. I was fairly active, graduated from high school at about 180 pounds, almost 6 foot tall, so pretty average type guy, played all the sports. And when I turned 21, I started going to bars, alcohol, eating like crap. You know what the story is. By the time I was in my early 20s, I was probably in the 230, 240 range, which is where I'm at now. And then I progressively started gaining weight after a couple injuries at work. And I quit actually installing home improvements and went into the sales end of it. That's when things really started to ratchet up. I think when I got married at 27, and if I can find some pictures, I might insert them up here. I was 270 pounds. Somewhere in the neighborhood when I was 27 when we got married, 1993. I stayed about that weight. I would go up and down. I probably did peak out in about 2016 or so. 2015, 2016, I was over 300 pounds, I think. I guess I would say I was. But I didn't weigh myself very often. Then in 2016, I started to have some issues with my feet, neuropathy. Again, I'm not going to rehash all of it, but I was a pretty heavy drinker, regular drinker, beer, whiskey, you name it. I actually did quit drinking from 99 to 2013, but by 2013 I started getting after it again, and that's when I started to get big. In 2016, I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes for the first time. My initial A1C was 9.5. My doctor was shocked and told me to cut down on the carbs, and we would try to get the A1C under 7. I quit for a little while. I stopped eating carbs, and within 8 months, I got down to 239. But then I changed jobs and got back into the drinking, and the weight went back up. So much so that, again, we're going to fast forward quite a bit, but by 2020, COVID, the beginning, I guess we're not supposed to say that word, the C word. My wife had some issues. She's a few years older than me. She had some potassium issues, some liver issues, and one thing led to another, and she was hospitalized twice. While we were going through that, I just completely went off the rails diet-wise. At that point, I might have been my highest weight ever. But once we got her figured out and started getting things under control a little bit, I finally myself checked out. And I'll never forget that. My doctor at the time took my in the office, took my blood work, came rushing back into the room and said, "Oh my God, Brian, you're 11 point something A1C. We got to get this under control. We got to do all these tests and blah, 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 blah." It was probably in the fall of 2020. Yeah, I'm going to get somewhere in that neighborhood. Went back on metformin, which if you've ever taken metformin, you know that that's just an absolute terrible drug. Cracks me up that people talk about the side effects of a GLP-1. It's nowhere near as bad as the, pardon me for being blunt, but just the absolute uncontrolled diarrhea that you get with metformin. You never know when it's not drive, it's not safe to eat, when it's just terrible. So, yeah, that's when really started to notice things were not good. The neuropathy had spread into my fingers, my thumbs. I would wake up and I couldn't have any feeling in my thumbs. But unfortunately, I was still drinking a lot back then. And then we talked about it before in March of 2022. On my way to work one morning, I had a massive heart attack and passed out driving on I-75. And that's when things really started to change. When I got out of the hospital, I've talked about this, but I believe I was 288 pounds. I found keto, low carb shortly after that. Got home, started to track things. I think I got my first, I didn't even have a scale until May of 22. And I keto and I started losing weight. Culminating in my lowest weight to date was 239 pounds. Again, 239. I got down there twice, 8 years apart. But in October of 24, I hit 239 and I immediately started going back up, even though I was on a very strict keto diet, less than 20 carbs a day, no sweeteners. I went on no sugar, no grains protocol October 24, and had heard of GLP-1s, but it was in the community, it's just against. For some reason, I think it's the worst thing ever. But the fact of the matter is, I started to see some videos from Dr. Boz, who she was talking about some things that they were doing with very low dose, microdosing of tirzepatide, P1 plus glucagon, and seeing some results. And so I started looking around on that, found a couple of GLP content creators on YouTube, started watching, and finally decided in May of this year, 2025, that I was going to go ahead and purchase Tirzepatide online through a telehealth company. Unfortunately, it was when the shortage thing was going on and a lot of things were up in the air, and I ended up not being able to get Tirzepatide and ended up settling on Ozempic or semaglutide. And then went to my doctor shortly thereafter. I think I'd taken 2 shots of compounded semaglutide, and she agreed that Mounjaro was a good thing and prescribed it. My insurance company accepted it, and I've been on it now for a little over 6 months. I think this morning I took my 28th shot. I titrated up slowly, starting at 2.5, then 5. Today was my 6th shot and 7.5. And I initially had very good results, lost 20 pounds in the first 3 or 4 months, but have stalled. I've lost 1.2 pounds in the last 2 months. I am with the doctor here in 2 weeks, and I'm going to see about going up to a 10 milligram. I'm considering maybe emailing her before that and seeing if we can't jump the gun a little bit, but we'll see. I am, but my insurance does cover it. I don't have to do the compounded route and pay out of pocket. But yeah, the initial question: when did things first start coming off the rails for you? Did you gain weight early? Did you gain weight late? Midlife? Was it after an accident? Was it after a life event? I know we all have different journeys, but it's interesting to discuss it. Now that where we're at, it's hard to believe I'm almost 60 years old, but it's interesting. Look back. I will be getting into more specific things about GLP-1s here as we forward. I really think it's going to be to me winning this battle. As of morning, I was at 235.5 pounds, 235.6. Been stuck for a while. But I was down this week after having 2 or 3 weeks in a row where I was up. And here's what's interesting, and I'm thinking of this, and I want input from you guys. I had been working out every other day with the weight, and then walking every other day. And last weekend, I've got pain in this shoulder. It's really bad, and it's been getting progressively worse. And I was doing laundry and working here in my office and just reaching for things down low or even up high above the fridge. It hurts like hell. So after workout, I decided I'm gonna lay off the weights. Now, unfortunately, that turned to 3 days of laying off the walking too. No, Sunday I walked Abby, I think. Yeah, I did. I did Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. Thursday, got on the treadmill. No, actually Thursday, Abby and I went out for a walk for a little over an hour, 3 miles. Felt good. Thursday I got on the treadmill, and yesterday I got on the treadmill. I've also done sauna sessions all 3 days. This morning, I had an appointment originally at 9 o'clock. Unfortunately, that's rescheduled. So I'm getting ready to jump on the treadmill right now. We'll do an hour on the treadmill, and then we'll get in the sauna. I've also added 5 minutes on the exercise bike to try to get that up to 15 minutes. But I'll tell you what, it burns my legs pretty good. So we're gonna have to work up on that bike. So, anyways, that's where we're at. Food wise, pretty good. Although yesterday, youngest daughter and I went to see Wicked Part 2 with her friend, and I had popcorn. I used to be able to polish off 1 or 2 buckets of popcorn, and I barely got that much out of the top of that popcorn, and I was just stuffed. And it's funny, I woke up this morning, my blood sugar was elevated, 112, which I guess isn't terrible, but even right now, I think it's 123 before I did this video at almost 9 o'clock. Been up 5:30. So we're going to jump on the treadmill. I don't know if I'll video it. I might. We'll see. And I like to do an hour, and then we'll do a half hour in the sauna. So I will take a shot of my board. You'll see all my activity for the last month. And that's about it. So when did you start losing weight, or when did you start gaining weight, and when did you start losing weight, and where are you at on your journey? Again, the name of the channel is Brian's Silver Health Quest. As we enter our silver years, we want to improve our health and be able to deal with this next 20, 25, 30 years, whatever time we have left, and feel good, be productive. So, all right, I'm gonna go on the thanks for coming along. Share it, like it, subscribe. I think I'm gonna set a goal to get to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Woo! All right. So I don't even know if that worked. We'll find out. Okay. So, well, I don't know how anybody does this. This is burning like hell. We're barely 3 minutes in.